Modern football operates as a highly technical, billion-dollar global industry, broadcast seamlessly across the entire planet. This scale relies on an infrastructure that was locked into position during a single month in the 1960s. Before July 1966, the game remained a raw and regionally isolated sport. Matches were rarely seen outside of their host continents, and the professional machines of today's media rights were non-existent. The 1966 World Cup in England functioned as the exact technical pivot point where the game's modern structure was first engineered. This tournament marked the first major structural shift in the sport's history, the introduction of multi-continental television broadcast rights. For the first time, fans in other hemispheres could watch the tournament live. The European Broadcasting Union paid a record £800,000 for these rights. This investment proved the sport's massive commercial viability, transforming it from a hobbyist interest into a premium media product. By the end of the final match, the sport was no longer a regional pastime. It had transitioned into a highly industrialized global commercial product. Despite its growing commercial value, the tournament's organizational state remained incredibly fragile. Just 4 months before kickoff, the organizers lost the World Cup trophy itself. The solid gold Jules Rimet trophy was stolen from a display case in Westminster. Thieves forced the building's rear doors during a church service, despite the presence of a 24-hour guard detail. Scotland Yard's inability to secure the artifact became a national crisis. As police searched, ransom notes arrived demanding £15,000, threatening that the trophy would be melted down if the payment wasn't made. The resolution was as absurd as the theft. A South London collie named Pickles discovered the trophy wrapped in old newspaper, hidden under a residential hedge. Pickles saved the tournament's public relations. However, the theft revealed that the sport's global management lacked the security and professional oversight required for its scale. While the press focused on the recovery of the trophy, a more significant crisis was unfolding: a complete boycott by 15 African nations. This diagram illustrates the core friction point. FIFA's rules forced all African nations to compete against Asia and Oceania for just one single qualification slot. Leaders like Ghana's Kwame Nkrumah weaponized this boycott. They used the tournament's new global visibility to demand post-colonial representation and promote a unified Pan-African identity. This organized resistance forced FIFA to change. By 1970, Africa was guaranteed a direct slot, marking Muscat's first major move toward inclusive global governance. The evolution continued on the pitch, where England looked to replace their outdated tactical reliance on individual flair with something more structured. Manager Ramsey promised a World Cup victory by implementing a controversial and highly unorthodox new system. This board shows the traditional 4-3-3. Its attacking width relied entirely on these two nodes, isolated at the extreme boundaries of the pitch. Ramsey's wingless wonders shift removed those wingers entirely. He compressed the team into a narrow 4-man midfield diamond. The anchor of this system was Nobby Stiles. His role was to act as a ruthless defensive shield, protecting the backline at all costs. This protection allowed Bobby Charlton to roam. Charlton functioned as the team's creative hub, with the freedom to dictate play from the center. To find width without wingers, England used their fullbacks. George Cohen and Ray Wilson provided offensive width through overlapping runs from deep defensive positions. This system ended the era of the static winger and established the industrious, kinetic midfield as the standard for modern play. These new tactical and physical demands were devastating to the traditional powers of the sport. Brazil, the defending 2-time champions, were shocked by their elimination in the group stage. Opponents neutralized Pelé through systematic physical violence. Aggressive tackling by Portugal's João Moraes left the Brazilian star injured and unable to save his team. While Brazil exited, the group stages delivered an upset built on disciplined, high-stamina tactics from North Korea. Park Do-eek's 1-0 goal eliminated Italy, causing a profound national crisis in Rome. The Italian team was met with protests and fury upon their return. The tournament proved that individual technical brilliance was no longer enough. Survival now required modern tactical discipline and sheer physical endurance. By the knockout rounds, tensions had escalated into a diplomatic powder keg. South American nations alleged that European officials were conspiring to eliminate them. these frustrations boiled over at Wembley during a highly aggressive match between England and Argentina. In a pivotal moment, the German referee expelled Argentine captain Antonio Ratin for violence of the tongue. The expulsion was controversial, given the referee spoke no Spanish, and Ratin was simply asking for an interpreter. After the match, Ramsey publicly called the Argentines animals. This match created such severe diplomatic friction that the UK Foreign Office intervened. It proved the sport lacked a universal language for conflict resolution. The confusion of the Ratin incident forced a structural evolution in the game's rules. English referee Ken Aston realized that a globalized game needed a visual, universally understood code of discipline that didn't rely on spoken language. Aston found his solution while driving through London. He looked at a traffic light and conceptualized the yellow and red card system. The hostility of the 1966 quarterfinal directly birthed the modern card system, bridging language gaps and standardizing officiating worldwide. The July 30 final at Wembley between England and West Germany became the ultimate test of the sport's technical limitations. A 2-2 deadlock at the end of regulation pushed the match into a tense extra time period. Then came the most debated moment in football history, Jeff Hurst's shot that hit the crossbar and bounced violently downward. Scientific analysis using modern motion tracking shows the reality. The ball never fully crossed the line, missing the goal by exactly 6 centimeters. Despite this, the referee consulted his Soviet linesmen and validated the goal. The validation of this ghost goal altered football history, providing the initial technical justification for modern goal line technology. England secured the trophy, but the tournament's lasting legacy lay in the birth of the global football industry. The pressures of 1966 permanently installed the 4-4-2 formation, multi-continental television broadcasts, and standardized disciplinary cards. The African boycott acted as the catalyst that forced the game to transition from a Eurocentric organization into a truly global representative body. 1966 remains the crucible that engineered the modern architecture of the world's most popular sport.